Hi, and welcome to One Word Writer Podcast. I'm your host, Tish Bouvier, and this is our coffee break segment. We have Kara Linaburg here, and say your name for everybody because I'm bad with names. Everybody know that.
I am Kara Linaburg.
I got it right. So
You
Karen's
did.
debut novel is A Study in Terminal, and we're going to talk to her today about her book. But first, Kara, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you from, and what inspired you to write.
Well, I live in a small town in West Virginia. I'm originally from West Virginia, and that's actually the setting for A Study in Terminal. So that's inspired by the mountains where I live. And I live with my five younger siblings and my parents. And I'm also a catering coordinator and I'm a freelance editor. So I have a lot of little odd jobs that I'm always doing. And I was inspired by a study in terminal by seeing so many people struggling with suicide and mental health in general. I myself personally struggled with that of suicide, and then I also was seeing when I was working with at-risk youth, so many young kids were having such big questions for being 10, 11 years old. And I wrote them, I wrote for myself, and that's basically how it all started, was by wanting to write a story that gave people hope and gave them a reason to live, basically.
I like that. As I was reading in the beginning, you have the definition of terminal. What
Mhm.
specifically about the title, A Study in Terminal? How did you choose that title?
Um, it kind of came about. There's a song by a singer that I really like, John Foreman, from the band Switchfoot, and he has a song "Terminal," and basically it's a song about how we're all dying. Like basically, it's terminal for every one of us, but we're all gonna obviously die at different times. So it's basically studying the idea of death and versus life and choosing life.
I like that. So did you come up with the idea for the title before you wrote the story, during or after?
In the process of writing it, I always had like the word terminal kept popping up in my mind, but then when I realized that my character Rena was going to like Sherlock Holmes, that kind of bounced off from that. I was well, so give people the Sherlock Holmes vibe.
I like that. I like that. So you answered one of my questions before I asked, which is good. Okay, the first sentence. And to me, the first sentence is always the catch. And I have to say, read it. Just when
Yeah.
I think my demons have been defeated, I wake up and realize who the real monster is. I am the monster I have been running from. That resonated with me. That was strong. How do you view the word monster as you was writing Sean's story?
More like how we all have our inner demons and our insecurities and the thing, all that we have voices in our head, and so there was different things for Sean that were his monsters, and he realized like that was all in his mind. Like he was his own, worst enemy basically when it came to the thoughts going on in his head. So like when it came to PTSD and all that, he was his own worst enemy. It wasn't the people necessarily around him that were against him.
I like how you wrote it because I was able to see the monsters within myself, like with grief and loss of
Yeah.
my grandmother that I thought I was over, but I don't think you ever get over that. And also the monster with his dad. I had when I got towards the end of the book, I understood his grief as well because we all deal with our grief in different ways.
Yes.
So I know as writers too, we all write bits and pieces of ourselves, and writing can be therapeutic. Did you find this therapeutic for you personally?
Yes, definitely. And on different ways than I thought, like because I struggled with suicidal thoughts when I was younger.
Mhm.
So for me, it was very therapeutic to be able to kind of release and process all of that. And that made it also kind of difficult because I went back through like my journals from the time I was 9 until I was about 16. I had different questions about life and death. So it really gave me a chance to process and different things that Sean struggled with mentally in his mind. Different questions that he had were things that I had also asked. So it was basically just bringing that all together and taking time to heal and process from those things that I hadn't realized were still up there and I hadn't really let go of.
Right. Yeah. So, what was the most challenging scene to write in the study in terminal for you? The
The
most.
most challenging scene,
Uh huh. Because it was so deep. The
uh,
story was extremely deep.
I would say it was probably the one of the last scenes when Sean is in the house where him and his mom had lived up in the when he was up in the bedroom, and basically it's the climax where everything is going to go down. Either
Right.
one thing's going to happen or the other. Like there's, and I didn't know exactly how I wanted to go. Like I knew how I wanted it to end, but I
Mm-hmm.
really didn't. I didn't know exactly how it was going to end exactly, how he was going to resolve everything. And so I think I rewrote that so many times. That was the hardest thing for me, just to figure out how I wanted to show people his story ending and how, like, to get his questions resolved.
This is one of my favorite quotes. You had the book to me was filled with a lot of inspirational wisdom. And my favorite quote was this because it speaks the truth. It was Mark Twain once said that each man is a moon with a dark side he shows no one. And I wrote something about suicide in Greece is such a tough topic. And I didn't realize personally how hard it would be for me to even discuss it and even see those monsters within myself. So, how did you really prepare or prep yourself to write such a tough subject, a topic?
I I didn't I just wrote,
Okay.
honestly. I didn't really I was just like I'm just going to write. And I wrote it during COVID-19 when all that was going down and lots of things were
Mm-hmm.
shut down and everyone's stuck in their homes. And I knew that I'd wanted to write the story for a long time, but I knew it would also take a lot of processing. So it was a lot easier when I wasn't working. I was sitting at the house with nothing to do. Everything shut down. So I
Right.
really took the time to write. But
Uh-huh.
it was basically just sitting down and actually taking the time to write it. I'm very bad. I'm a pantser. I don't plan anything. So I just sat down and wrote it.
That's what I was going to ask you. So you are a pantser. So you didn't have an outline
Yes.
or anything like that?
No,
Wow,
I
girl.
haven't learned to outline.
I
No.
used to be, but I realized after going into writing cozy mysteries, I need an outline. I need something to navigate my thoughts. You did good. I really enjoyed that. So, if you can see your story, this is a fun question on the big screen. What celebrity would you cast as Sean and Raina?
Oh my gosh. I'm terrible when it comes to celebrities. I couldn't tell you honestly who I'd want. I'd have to ask my sister or my brother who's big into movies.
Okay.
I don't know. That's a hard question right there. Yeah.
I can't even think of one because I'm not good at saying, well, maybe she'll know, but yeah. Okay. So,
No,
what's your ultimate purpose? And we probably covered this already, and I would like you to share again for writing a study in terminal. What message do you want your readers to hold on to as they finish your book?
I want them to see why they're choosing life and to see the beauty in living. And then on the flip side, I also want them to see how important it is to stand by people no matter what. Like with Rena and Sean, Rena stands by Sean even though he's constantly trying to get away from her or he's ignoring her, and she doesn't give up on him. And I think that's so important because people after a while get kind of tired of trying to go after people who are depressed and hurting and avoiding them. So it's really important to stand by people, and I hope they see that too.
Right. So, what advice would Raina share with someone who feels that there is no light in their darkness?
I think Rena would be telling them to find people who can stand by them in their darkness. And because that's what we all need. I think when we're super depressed or we're going through things, we seclude ourselves.
Right.
And I think that Rena, that's what she was telling Sean is, let me meet you in the darkness. And that's what we need to do is let people come into our lives. We need to find those people. And that's how I was able to keep my head above water when I was in high school, is because I let my family in and I let friends in. And that's how I was able to find healing.
That is so true. I love that. So, as a writer, what advice would you give to new writers out there?
to find people to write with them and to read their work. I didn't really have, like, in the beginning when I was like first starting out as a writer in high school, like it was hard to get criticism, and I was so bad at getting that because I'd be like, well, my story's still fine, it's fine, like I know they're saying that, but it's okay, I won't listen. But I really found how vital it was when I was writing a study terminal to have people read my book and give me advice and actually listen to that advice, because it did help me grow so much.
Yeah. So, what's next after a study intern? What is next for you as a writer?
I would like to write the next book after a studying terminal. I'd like to go on with like Sean's world and those
Ooh,
characters because I really, really love them and I have so many ideas for them. I don't, that's my plan. We'll see what happens because with me being a panster, like anything can happen because I'm never
right.
planning very well at all. So, but that's what I really want to do. And that's what I've kind of started playing around with the idea of writing about, Rena's brother Joe because I really like him and I think he has a cool backstory that I'd like to share.
Oh, yeah, I love that. So we have Ann and Nick in the audience, and we have a few more, but there's no questions. Your book is really good, and I really want to encourage everyone to go out and get your copy of A Study in Terminal that's available on Amazon and other platforms.
Yes, I know it's on Barnes and Noble's online as well.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And you can get it in any format, right? Ebook and
Yes,
printed version.
paperback. And, yeah, you can even get in hardcover too. Jen even did that.
Oh, that's really nice. So, how can
It
our
is.
viewers reach out to you and follow you on social media? I do have your link tree in the description below, but you want to share how as well?
They can find me on my website, thebeautifulybrokenblog.com, because I have like my links on there and my podcast up on there. And then I think on social media mainly I'm like at Carolyn Author. Most of my social medias I'm pretty sure are under that.
Okay. Well, that concludes our coffee break segment, and I want to thank Kara for joining us. I enjoyed the book, A Study in Terminal. Be sure to click on the link in the description, get your copy, read it, and the best thing you can do for any author is to leave a positive or a honest feedback. Leave a review.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Kara, for joining us, and we can't wait to talk to
Thank
you
you.
again. You have a
Thank you very
wonderful,
much.
wonderful day.
You do too. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.